Okay, so I'm about to go over this game. So you start with e4, e5, classic Italian setup. Um, and this is a pretty common idea with the idea to pin the knight and weaken kind of your center here. Um, so this is definitely a move. And when I say a move, it's viable. One of the caveats here is it does lock this bishop. And it can be attacked by the knight, and you kind of have nowhere to go. Um, in the Italian, I find this bishop tends to be really strong. Once they castle, it pins this pawn and weakens the defense of this square. Now, there are ideas here of just letting them take the bishop and kind of open up some other ideas. I personally try to avoid this move where possible, but if you want to play it that way, just be prepared to potentially lose this bishop. Um, so this is, developing, um, trying to get castled, and this is a strong move. Just, developing pieces. And now castles, no problem here. This is all pretty standard setup. Um, you do be careful about doing something like this. You're blocking your rook. Now it's double defended, so it's not an issue. Just do be aware that when you're developing, how you want to be doing that. Um, so yeah, so this is also when you see, um, so this is why I like playing it with c3 instead of pawn c3 instead of knight c3, um, because now this pawn's stuck and this bishop has nowhere to go. So when you see this move, generally, you're going to want to open up a square for your bishop. Let's see, is this a better? Yeah, so the best move is opening up a square for your bishop. This is a little stronger because it takes more space. But even this would have been better because you're not running the risk of losing a bishop. Um, so which this is their entire plan, and this knight is coming here, right, to take this bishop. Um, so as far as exchanging pieces here, um, this knight has a lot of, it has opportunities here to kind of reroute. Um, Trading it off, there's no, I'm not really sure the idea here. You do have doubled pawns, um, and you know, I'm not sure how much it actually does for you. Um, so And yeah. So this pawn becomes a weakness. And this they now have a strong diagonal here. Um, and I do like this. I think once again, so takes back with center pawn is a bit better just because now you don't have double pawns and you have this strong pawn chain. Um, but that is actually the best move, so I take that back. Now here. I don't mind this. Um, but yeah, so you do have to be careful now. I guess you were threatening to win the bishop, but this defends it. Now there's also potential for discovered attacks, which is something you're going to want to be careful of. Um, and yeah, I like these moves. Um, Messing with your pawn structure, not the best, but at the same time, um, there's no queens on the board, and the rooks are over here. It's going to be kind of difficult for them to get into any attack on the king side. So I actually, once again, I think, and it is the best move. So yeah, now they're pushing pawns. Um, okay, yeah. Um, Once again, great move. Obviously they can't take back because threatening the rook, and if you take, then and they can't take with bishop, so they have to move their bishop. Overall, really strong move. Um, and they see it. Uh, yeah. So nothing wrong with any of these moves. I yeah, I like this. So I guess the idea is trading pawns, um, but you kind of yeah you give them the opportunity to push forward. Um, and yeah, now you're just winning. Um, so right here, I probably would have defended the pawn, um, with the idea of kind of marching your king over and getting your rook behind, so you can just kind of push it. So let's see what kind of the follow-up is. Yeah, so the follow-up is ultimately getting your king over to protect that pawn, so then you can move your rook around. um, but not a terrible move here. Um, okay, yeah, so you're defending the pawn again. Now you're activating your king. I like that. Um, this is a tough position here because they have a lot of pawns and there's an inequality, and you have a passed pawn, which is simultaneously a strength and a weakness. Um, Now here you can they don't have a lot of movement, so you can kind of let's see what you do here. Okay, I don't mind that. Okay, yeah. Getting the king out of the way. And this is the best move, so I guess this works. Yeah, centralizing your king. They can't check you, and you're protecting this pawn. Hmm. So this trade isn't terrible. Um, but unfortunately, they've got a majority here, and now you have nothing to protect this pawn, right? And I'm assuming what happens is they just start pushing pawns, um, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay, yeah. So I probably would have played like this, ultimately trying because there's an inequality of pawns, meaning if you don't stop that, um, it's gonna be a problem. So yeah, um, I mean it says it's a good move, but I do think in the position you really need to focus on stopping those pawns, and at this point playing for a draw. Um, and here it's kind of already lost. Um, yeah, I mean, so um, yeah, and so I think your issue here, right, um, was not realizing that um, this pawn advantage here is pretty significant. So um, right, so then if you did something like this, um, now you can kind of just block, um, but it's still ultimately yeah. I think it's just a lost position. So um, but endgames are hard. Uh, here would I a better move might have been this targeting the pawns. Um, and then they can't trade. They can check you. Uh, but then you can do this, which allows you to gobble these pawns a little easier. So like if they do this, um, right, and now you're in a position where you have these two strong pawns and you're blockading these pawns. So like they have to go back. Well, you wouldn't want to do that, but um, and like so in this position now, they can't take this pawn because they're not going to be able to stop this promotion. Um, so yeah, that's just some ideas, of what you could have done here. Um, but when it comes down to it, like I said, endgames are hard, and it's probably one of the hardest parts of chess. So I wouldn't beat yourself up over it.